Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Quartermatch, and today we're going to be doing my update for June 2024. All right, so we're halfway through the year here, and I have finished a real big book in June. Perils Gate by Janie Wirtz. Oh, my word. This big chunk of a book was fantastic. Sixth book in the Wars of Light and Shadow. And got my Jenny mug to go with it. mm. That's how good this book was. It was so good. This was a seminal book in the Wars of Light and Shadow. And because it really opened your mind to some of the possibilities to what she was trying to accomplish with this series. And it really takes us, it really sets the stage for what's going to be coming next and really change your perception about what came before. So I really like what she did, especially in the last 4 chapters in this book. They were really something else in this. Very special series, very special book, and looking forward to more from that series. And so, what else did I finish? I also finished Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I did a review on that. And so check it out. It was a very fun book to read. It had spiders. So that was pretty cool. He has a very easy flowing, really nice reading style that goes fast. So even though this book was like 600 pages, it felt like 300. It was just, whoa, you fly through it. All right. And really cool book. What else did I finish in June? I also finished Last and First Men by Olaf Stapledon. Now that was a cool book. I thought this is part of the Sci-Fi Masterworks read along we do on pagechewing.com. And this book for me was really cool because I recognized the style he was using. It was written in 1930, and even though it has its problems with um, uh, time, the context of the time, and some of the biases he had, but other than that, I thought he was. I thought it was a really interesting way he told basically the whole history of mankind, millions and billions of years into the future. Even he went through it all, and this epic scope of what he was doing was incredible. And I thought it was pretty cool. Some of my partners on the podcast on the Sci-Fi Masterworks read along weren't so keen on it, but that's okay. It was okay in my book. It was pretty cool book. So that was what I also finished in June. Also, I finished this mega graphic novel called "And Mankind Created the Gods," and this is nonfiction, and it's an adaptation of Pascal Boyer's "Religion Explained," and it was. That book was written somewhere back in 2001 or 2000, I think, and so this is an adaptation of a nonfiction book. The adaptation is done by Joseph Behe. And the incredible thing about this book is it's highly scientific. It's like it's a lot of neuroscience, a lot of psychology, and the fact that he managed to put it into graphic novel form with some wonderful artwork, black and white artwork, um, is quite amazing because it's like there's no like it's not a narrative, it's nonfiction. So he kind of turned it into a narrative by having these different characters going through this discussion and trying to explain religion. They're trying to explain um, why it exists and where's it come from and why do they have a lot of religions have many things in common and why does it matter and all this stuff, and why are there institutions and why does it trigger such strong emotions, religion, so he goes through a lot of neuroscience, like I said, and a lot of psychology to try to explain this stuff. But I would recommend this probably over the actual book because this is actually fun to read with all the cool artwork and stuff. And so, um, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. I hope to get a review out sometime later this month because I'm going to be quite tied up and busy the next couple weeks. But um, so also, what else did I finish? I also finished this novella from our friend Livia Elliott, and Genesis of Change it's called, and it was an arc given to me for so that I can review it, and I'm going to plan on reviewing that soon. And I had a lot of fun with this. I think it's a prequel of sorts for future stuff, and so I'm really interested in this. And it was a lot of fun to read. It's very philosophical. So if you like that stuff, you're gonna like this. So I had I can't wait to talk about this a little bit more in the future here. But it was something I just finished off, and so I was very delighted to have read it. So very cool stuff. What else? Stuff I have ongoing. So I read some short stories, of course, and the first one was out of Tales Before Tolkien, The Roots of Modern Fantasy. And the story I read this month was called The Story of Sigurd, which was based on Old Norse epic poems. And this is the story of Sigurd as retold by Andrew Lang in 1890 from the Red Fairy book. And it was uh, it was an okay story. It was about Sigurd, of course, who through some mix-up has this tragic tale where he didn't get together with the woman he actually loved, Brunhild, and she ended up marrying somebody else, and then he went and killed a dragon to get the dragon hoard, and of course there was a cursed treasure, and so they never, it was kind of a sad story, really, because it's a tragic story, and they they at the end they kind of realized that they were supposed to be together, and they ended up being burned on this boat as they both died. So yeah, kind of tragic. It wasn't my favorite story out of this collection so far, but it was cool. It was fun. It was short, So once again, the Tale of Sigurd from Tales Before Tolkien. And I read another entry from Chinese myths and folk tales. And let's see, this one had to do with um, a Taoist priest of Lao Shan. Sorry about the pronunciations. They're beyond me. But the uh, the um, the tale was interesting because it was about a human, trying to learn powers from immortals, and he begged and he pleaded, and and he said, "Please give me some of your power." And finally, one of the immortals was like, "Okay, here you go. You can walk through walls." And so when the guy left, he walked through the wall as he leaves this temple. Then he goes back home to his wife and he goes, "Look, I can walk through walls." And he runs into a brick wall and slams into it and falls down and has a big egg on his head. And his wife laughs at him. So it was a it was a funny little story. And once again, these like little 1-2 page um, moral lessons, I guess you would say, from these little folk tales. So fun stuff there. Um, I also read, and this is cool. I started The Devil Delivered in Other Tales by Stephen Erickson. And boy, oh boy, this was a novella. Um, there's 3 novellas in here, and the first one is called The Devil Delivered, and that's the one I read this month. I'll try to read the other the others in subsequent months coming up. And yeah, this was about 140 page to 130 page novella, and it was really cool. The Devil Delivered. It's kind of like a post apocalyptic type story, but very recent post apocalypse. So um, and it takes place where the world's all screwed up. The nations have been divided in different ways. The Lakota Nation is now its own thing in North America, and there's of course tons of radiation outside, so it must be nuclear. And and he he what was interesting about it was you kind of get he's predicting the advent of online communication and how some of that communication is still online because there's still satellites, and it actually looks a lot like some of the Discord pages we see today. These groups, these groups talking to each other in their own little platform. So he kind of predicted Discord. I mean, that's a that's a biased way of looking at it because that's what we're used to today. So I'm putting my current bias onto the story as it was written back in 2005. But that's just that's what readers do. That's how I felt about it. But other than that, the story was it had to do a lot with he puts his some of his archaeological knowledge in here, and it was a really good story. I hope to get a full review out on that soon, and maybe even see if we can get a discussion about it sometime. We'll see. Anyways, what else do I got ongoing here? Yes, we started on Page Chewing, I think Comic Chewing or something like that podcast. We started talking about Swamp Thing. Um, Alan Moore's The Saga of the Swamp Thing. So we read the first volume so far in this collection, and we'll be continuing to talk about Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. It's one of those seminal series that came out in the '80s that really informed what was coming out after that. It's pretty much is something that was the beginnings of the Vertigo mature readers comics line before Vertigo existed, and it was just really good storytelling for the time. It's different for the time, and it influenced a ton of stuff after it. Yeah, so that was cool. Alrighty, what am I actively reading right now? The Cripple God by Steven Erikson. This is my Malazan reread, and I'm on book 10 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And so there's a reason why this is probably my favorite book of all time. I'm getting so much out of it, enjoying it immensely, and having a blast with this. Uh, there's so much stuff to talk about. I'm like about 450 pages in, and I not even halfway. But man, am I loving this, and I'm taking my time with it. And I'll probably still be reading it next month, but that's how it goes with those big chunk of books. But especially rereads, and because I really want to take my time and just absorb it all. And I'm having a blast with it. It is great. All right, what else am I reading right now as well? I'm reading Earth Abides by George Stewart. This is part of the Sci-Fi Masterworks read along, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm only a couple of chapters in right now, so I'm getting there. But so far so good. He starts off with a bang, and right. This is also like a post-apocalyptic, but it's immediate, and it has to deal with more with disease, kind of scary in that regard. And so I'm in the middle of reading that. What else do I have actively going? I am also reading Lorden King by P.L. Stewart, and this is part of the Drowned Kingdom saga. It's saga. It's book 3 in the Drowned Kingdom saga, and so I'm having a blast with this book as well. PL has something really special going on here, and it's a once again, it's in that first person from Othrin's perspective, and he's he's an interesting dude. So a lot of fun reading Lorden King from Peel Stewart. And so, what else do I have active going on here? Yes, of course. The sequel to Children of Time. I'm reading Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And the writing style just continues with that fast-paced, fast-flowing writing style. It's very plot-driven, and I'm enjoying this a lot. I'm enjoying this a lot. It's understandable how I think some people weren't as high on the second book as the first book. And that makes sense because the first book was so introductory towards these new ideas, and the second book just kind of continues with those ideas. And so, but I'm enjoying it just as much. I think it's really really fun. And so I got that active and going right now, about halfway through. And so that's I think that's everything. Yeah. Oh, I'm also, of course, continuing on reading short stories in the big book of science fiction as part of the Speculative Speculations podcast. And so we've read, about 3 or 4 more short stories out of there. My favorite so far has been Ray Bradbury short story, 2005 Martian. The Martian 2005, I think it was called. But that's those stories have been a lot of fun, and they're chronological, so it's fun to see the evolution of science fiction as we go along in that book. So check out that podcast when you get a chance. And anything else that I read last month? I think I'm caught up there. All right. What is coming up soon? I will be starting 1984 by George Orwell, the classic book by Mr. Orwell. And this is part of discussion on contemporary fiction on page chewing. I like to call it Vash's side hustle. So we're going to be delving into that, and of course, we will soon be starting up Trader's Knot by Janie Wirtz, the 7th book in the Wars of Light and Shadow, and so that's gonna be cool. Very cool, very cool stuff. Can't wait for that. All right, so I think that's it. I think that's everything. Whew. All right, that is my June update. So let me know what you're up to, what you're doing for July maybe, and with all that said, be good to each other. And thank you.